On this program, join me, Rob Forbes, as I travel with Marius Roberts to France. In Clermont, we visit Adventure Michelin. It's the building that houses a collection of landmark objects, products, and vehicles that are a testament to the many engineering breakthroughs that Michelin have provided over the years.
No.
I go to the tire school to get a bit of hands-on experience.
Come on, get in there and seal properly.
Stop. That, my friend, is a car tire that I made from scratch.
There's also a connection to rugby.
Get up, Rob, you're on.
What, rugby?
No, tiddlywinks. Go.
Another one.
Flip, we gaan het.
Lucky you, Robbie.
We tried to catch up with Flip van der Merwe in the middle of some rowdy French Euro fans. After that, we travel north to the greatest endurance race on the planet, 24 Hours of Le Mans. This is the biggest, toughest test there is in motorsport, with almost 270,000 people around the track, billions more watching on TV. We were hosted trackside by Michelin and also got a different view of things from up high with a chopper ride around the 13-kilometer circuits. Plenty of action from the big players and a little less from these guys. Don't go away.
Paris.
No, don't.
Then Paris.
An untimely strike by Air France meant our route changed and we had to fly via Doha. Out of a Boeing Dreamliner and onto an A380 Airbus, and we're on our way to Paris, finally. But in Paris, another setback with our flight to Clermont being cancelled. We tried several alternative plans, finally hopped onto a taxi and went off to Opel, who kindly loaned us a car. 2 hours trying to get out of Paris's rush hour traffic, and we were finally on our way south. 4.5-hour drive to the home of Michelin.
Clermont. Finally. What a trip.
Marius,
Rob?
we were coming to Le Mans.
Yes.
Why am I in Clermont-Ferrand?
Long way around. This is where Michelin started. 126 years ago, Edward and Andre started a company. Unbelievable history, and I think you need to understand just what this company's achieved.
Okay.
And I've got a little challenge for you.
What's that?
You're gonna get to make a tire, Rob.
Like an actual tire
You're gonna play with rubber,
or a real car?
or a real car.
Luckily, I'm good with rubber.
In 2004, Michelin Adventure opened its doors, an ingenious plan to create a modern heritage center for everyone, which would tell the full story of their company by drawing on the past, present, and future. The Michelin brothers who started it were French industrialists who returned to Clermont-Ferrand in 1888 to save their family business, which was then manufacturing agricultural tools, drive belts, and hoses. Only 1 year later, Edouard greatly improved on the design for the pneumatic tire on a bicycle. But the brothers had bigger plans, and this was around the time that the motor vehicle was being introduced to the world.
It was invented by Michelin in 1895 to prove that it was possible to drive on air. The car is not easy to drive, and it makes zigzag like that, and the name of this vehicle is the Lightning Flash because of that, because of the zigzags.
In 1917, almost 200 Breguet biplane aircraft were built in Michelin's first plant, along with the world's first cement runway. Capable and lethal, this bomber stayed in service until 1932. Michelin has remained prominent in aviation, with their tires fitted to Concorde and in 1981 to the Space Shuttle Columbia. This trend continues with most modern aircraft today. But something to consider the next time you're flying is that airlines don't buy the tires. Rather, they lease them and then get charged every time they land. This tight control is required because the tires are subject to extreme conditions. From freezing temperatures at altitude, they then have to accelerate to 300 kilometers an hour and support the weight of the aircraft instantly upon landing. When we think of trams, we think of steel wheels and tracks, but Michelin improved on the idea with pneumatic tires. The main benefit is that they offer a quieter and much smoother ride. The Michelin 51 or Colonial started service in Madagascar in 1933 and is still running to this very day. The Vinci supposedly takes the form of a bird named after the island's kingfisher. A similar design is still used in Clermont, and the city runs a service over 16 kilometers of track, carrying 65,000 passengers a day. Testing and innovation has always been at the forefront of Michelin's rise as the world's leader in tire technology.
So here we have the cross-section of the radial tire. This is the new technology that is invented in 1946 by Michelin, and that is the revolution for mobility and revolution for tire, because it gives more longevity, it is more safe than before, and it makes low consumption of fuel. So really a
So even in
revolution.
1946, they were thinking about being efficient and being safe.
Yes.
This modified Citroën DS was used to test truck tires, which were suspended from an opening in the middle of the vehicle. It's powered by 2 Chevy V8s. The car could reach a top speed of 160 kilometers an hour. Coincidentally, Michelin owned Citroën from 1934 all the way to 1975. But this wasn't the only strange vehicle we saw.
It is the property of Bibend.
And what's incredible, I mean, it's one of the most famous brands, as voted, I think,
Yes,
in
it is
2000, it was like one of the most standout brands.
of
is
the
Michelin
century.
brand, the logo, yeah.
Of the century. During an exhibition, a Michelin stand with 2 piles of tires, with the thinner on the top and the biggest on the ground. And Edouard Michelin told to his brother, look at this pile of tires, it looks like a man. If we had arms, it could be a man.
Michelin realized at the very beginning what a superb bench test competition was, and it's been a key pillar in everything the company does, a powerful showcase for their technical excellence.
Competition at Michelin is not just for fun, it's not just for advertising or for image, and we transfer these competition technologies on the tire of you or me. You know,
Track to road.
track to road.
Time to put all that historical know-how into practice and get my hands a little dirty.
So we're actually here at the tire school at Michelin in safety shoes and real gloves, and we're going to do some real work.
For a change.
For a change.
When we are driving our cars, we give little thought to the forces and conditions the tires have to handle on every single journey. Don't ever think like I did of a tire as a homogeneous glob of mold and rubber, because nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, a tire is more properly recognized as a high-performance composite of some 60 different materials. It is quite possibly the single most complex component on your car. The makeup of a tire also has multiple varying functions. Nylon, Kevlar and steel strands are molded into the rubber components for added strength and durability.
Donc on va faire d'abord une carcasse et après donc on va faire un bandage. Hop, donc la première couche qu'on a ici, c'est celle-là qu'on va poser.
Okay, got you.
Here, ici. Voilà.
Have you really got him? What did he just say there, Rob?
This bit over here is the inside composite for the wall of the tire, you see.
And that's without speaking French.
I'm going to turn this into that.
A tire is constructed over a drum where the different components are skillfully combined.
This stuff is stickier than it looks.
It's truly amazing how many layers make up a tire. At this stage, the tire is looking a bit flat, but it'll all be revealed shortly.
Look at my sexy tire.
The bit that worries me the most is at the Michelin tire school here at Clermont, every single tire that is made is actually sold to market. So some poor motorist is going to get Rob Forbes' tire.
I can do the rolling bits.
Une fois qu'il est gonflé.
That's what holds the tire on the rim.
Did I mention how many layers are added? Like a lot.
And I think
Big.
better. If you get that barcode on your tire, that's my tire. You're lucky to have my tire.
And we're going to put the crown on the tire.
Okay.
Okay.
The crown includes more layers than just the tread, as this is the part that is in contact with the road. After this, the drum changes the shape of the tire.
Get in there and seal properly. That's a little loose.
final stage is adding the tread and then smoothing out the joint to the sidewall before it's popped off the drum to be readied for curing. Inside the mold, the tire is shaped under pressure and baked, much like a cake.
So this is what it looks like once it's cured.
Okay. Dude, check it out, it's done. That I made from scratch.
Rob Forbes, I am impressed.
So am I.
Well done.
Thank you. A whole car tire.
Cool thing, just got 3 more to make.
What do you mean?
We need 4 for a car, 4 tires.
3 more? Dude, you're kidding. It's gonna take me hours. What do you mean 3 more?
Across the road from the Michelin factory is the Michelin Rugby Stadium. And as South Africans, this was an opportunity we couldn't miss.
So, Marius and I are not the only 2 South Africans in Clermont at the moment.
In fact, if you are in France, you need to be very careful because Afrikaans has pretty much become a second language, all thanks to one game, rugby.
Literally over the road from the factory where we just were is the Stade Marcel Michelin, and one of their new boys is our very own Flip van der Merwe, and we're going to go and catch up with him tonight.
It's lovely to see South Africans here. We don't get it very often.
You've got a big bunch in the squad though, and like the whole of
we've
France.
In the whole of France a lot, yeah. There's a whole lot of South African players here, which is good for the competition. It's real hard at the rugby here at the moment. But yeah, enjoying France and enjoying the vibe.
Tell me honestly, is it easy coming from someone who's played for the Boks, someone who's played Super Rugby? Like, do you walk into France and you're like automatically a superhero?
Not at all.
Be honest. Be honest.
No, it's actually on the contrary. Coming from Pretoria, blue bull mad country.
Yeah.
I can actually walk around the shops here, so it's quite a relief. It's very good. It's a very good town to live in. It's not too big. It's got everything you want. Definitely passionate about rugby. They love their team. They love ASM. So as long as we do well, they're right behind us.
One good thing about living here, one bad thing that you miss from home?
Oh, yeah, you miss everything about South Africa when you live here. But the good thing, it's good. It's a good lifestyle living here. It's very easy. It's very relaxed. Your bicycle is safe when it stands outside. We joke about it, but it's very good living here. But you missed it. You missed the rush of South Africa.
Yeah, fair
and
enough.
The very friendly people, and of course the braaivleis.
The braaivleis.
Yeah.
And in keeping with South African rugby tradition, we also couldn't resist a little dop down at the local.
Cheers.
So we've got Rob to make a tyre in the Michelin factory, and now we've got you seated in the hot seat.
Flip's box.
Get up, you're on.
What, out there?
Well, not in here. But of course, the sport that Michelin is best known for is motorsport, whether on 2 wheels or 4, dirt or tar. This is the ultimate laboratory for Michelin, the real driving force behind their track to road philosophy. So join us after the break from Le Mans.
It's hard for us to imagine a world without cars, but in the early 1900s, there was a lot of uncertainty around this weird new invention. The Michelin brothers immediately saw the bigger picture, and they started pioneering ways to help motorists discover this brand new world that the car had created. With their route guides, service advice, maps, and road signs, Michelin turned uncertainty into adventure. Opel kindly provided us a set of wheels, and we set off on our own adventure across the French countryside.
We brave doing this. This is like motoring in the early 1900s Michelin style.
They didn't have GPS. We had to pick somewhere to go. Let's pick somewhere to go.
But it's cool that they did that.
It is.
They took a route guide, cool place like we saw in the museum. What do you do when you get there? Where do you service your car? Where do you put in fuel? Where do you stay? Road signs, how far? It's great.
This one's not telling me who's got sandwiches though.
Okay, you know what's going on there?
I know what's going on here.
Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Which one's diesel? Okay, this definitely isn't diesel because that looks like our stuff back home.
So
Gasole.
it also wants you to votry your carty.
With force.
Yes.
Jeez, I promise you, I'm never ever going to complain about tip. about tipping a petrol attendant again. Okay, so it's cool. We're en route. We know we're going to Le Mans. What's the Michelin guide reckon?
Well, I found the town, and it seems to break everything down by restaurants and hotels. So I'll have a little look and see if we can find somewhere nice to stay.
Is it in English?
No.
How's your French?
It took me long enough to find the index.
A nod of approval from myself meant we had made it to Le Mans in one piece and in time for the famous driver parade. Speaking of famous, Jackie Chan was there to support his team in this year's race. Patrick Dempsey's team was also back, although the actor wouldn't be driving in this year's race. This is petrolhead Nirvana. Thousands of people lining the streets of this beautiful town just to see the latest cars and all the superstar drivers. The world-famous Le Sart circuit is abuzz with excitement and expectation on race day. For the teams, time for final preparations just before the 3 o'clock start. Almost 270,000 people. There's plenty to keep everyone entertained on and off the circuit. On the 50th anniversary of their historic GT40 1-2-3 at the 1966 Le Mans race, there was much hype around the return of Ford. With the experience of Chip Ganassi Racing running the 4 GTs and a solid driver lineup, they were looking to rewrite the record books. It's also a chance for the first look at the latest models. Of interest to us in South Africa was the Audi Q2. For Michelin, generating a lot of interest at their hospitality area was this glimpse into the future. It's a hydrogen-powered concept car capable of reaching 300 kilometers an hour and with absolutely zero emission. For the 420 VIP guests hosted by Michelin, this would be the base. Not only were we wined and dined here, but more importantly, had a fantastic view of the race action. Michelin are of course the champions of fine dining as well, so for Marius and I it was a real privilege to be invited to a special tasting with a 2-star Michelin chef. Finally, time to go racing. Or was it? In true Le Mans fashion, the heavens opened, the rain came down, and we were treated to Brad Pitt starting what was declared a full wet race. This was the first time in the race's 84-year history that it was started under safety car.
It's raining, it's slow, we're under a safety car start. We are in the Michelin hospitality and 24 hours of Le Mans, so we're going to relax, enjoy the race.
7 laps and almost an hour later, and finally the racing started in earnest, much to the delight of the crowd.
Safety cars in, green lights all around the track, no overtaking before we cross the line.
Once the race was underway, a helicopter ride around Le Mans to really put into perspective the scale of how big this place is. 13.7 kilometers is a hell of a lap. Back on the track, the racing was intense. In LMP1 it seemed a straight fight between Toyota and Porsche after Audi had some early problems. And in the GT Pro class, it was clear the old rivalry between Ford and Ferrari burned just as hot as it did in the 60s. Tyres play a critical role in any team's chances for success. We popped in at the Michelin tyre facility to go and have a look at what's going on.
Jerome, there are a lot of tyres in here.
Yes, we are here in Le Mans.
It's crazy. How many tyres does Michelin bring to Le Mans?
Here exactly we have about 6,000 tires.
Wow, that's running for most of the teams. I know LMP1s, most of them are running on Michelin. How many sets of tyres does a team get for 24 hours?
We give them basically between 40 and 45 sets, but we need to be prepared for all the weather we should have here in Le Mans, and I think we will have a different kind of weather.
Jerome, that is exactly for me what makes Le Mans so interesting. 13 kilometers, the weather changes from one lap to the next. How much change can you make and help the teams? I mean, do you have a technician that sits with every team that is using your tires?
Exactly. We have a technician dedicated to each team. We are partner, just to follow the performance of our tire, but also to advise which tire we may use for some conditions, some temperature. But also we need a feedback from the team, and the technicians are in charge of that, because the development for Le Mans next year starts exactly today.
How many kilometers do they get before they change usually?
For an LMP1, we think that for dry weather, standard dry weather. We think we will keep the tire for 4 stints, basically 700k, which is huge if we compare to some other races. That's why we are involved as Michelin in endurance racing, because we want for sure to win. That's the goal. But we want also to use and to perform on the track. To develop some technology, we will be able to have after on the road for a standard road car.
Final question. I thought the teams would buy tires. So I buy a tire, I go and race. But it's not the case with the endurance racing.
No, you're right. All the tires here are development tires. If we want to develop the future, if you want to do analysis of the tire after running the 700Ks on an LMP1, for example, we need to do more analysis, what we will do the weeks after Le Mans. So we need to get all the tires back to be able to have enough tires to analyze and to develop the future in a way. So in our business, we rent the tire, we sell the usage. In fact, that's a complete service. In the price of the usage of the tire, there's also all the service, so all what we can see here.
Sounds like a good partnership.
It is a complete partnership, of course.
6 hours into the race, and the battles in GTE Pro and LMP1 raged on. And with the sun starting to go down, the challenge of surviving at night at Le Mans becomes a real thing. Driving at night is hard enough, but racing at 350 kilometers an hour is an entirely different ballgame. And the teams kick into high alert survival mode, and fans start gearing up for their own night of endurance. The Michelin stand in the public village gave the fans a chance to show off their driving skills. Risk-free, of course, and for Porsche fans, getting an up-close look at the new Cayman GT4. So we couldn't afford the real deal, but perhaps there was a model car we could get our hands on.
3,500 euro in my car back home, a real one for that.
The most incredible thing about Le Mans is just the sheer size of this place and how much there is going on. The race has been on for about 9 hours. We took a little break from the action. We're going to go and have a look around the rest of it, and as you can see behind me, there's a massive party on the go, so I'm going to head down there.
For many of the teams and their drivers, the night would become their darkest hours. But surviving the night doesn't mean you've conquered Le Mans. For those race fans around the world who didn't survive the night, a quick wipe of the sleep from the eyes would have revealed that the battles continued relentlessly throughout the night. Porsche, Toyota still on the same lap in LMP1 after 18 hours, and similarly the Ford and Ferrari were swapping lead as if it was a sprint race.
A lot of people around the world back home in South Africa are doing exactly what we're doing, sitting on the couches, watching Le Mans.
Sunday morning, enjoying the race.
Ours is a little bit different though.
Yeah, we've actually got the surround sound of the real racetrack coming past in the background.
But you and I, like a couple of the drivers, retired last night. We didn't make it all the way through, but we're back. Strong coffee. Enjoy it.
Very, very good so far. And nicely, we still got a race on our hands.
But this endurance race has turned into a sports, a proper sprint race.
That's insane.
It's all within a minute and 6 hours to go. It's been good.
I don't know if you noticed when we were walking in earlier, down past the pit crew sections, Oaks are buggered. There are people down everywhere.
Have you looked in the mirror? Also pretty buggered.
It's going to be us too, yeah.
Motor racing can be a cruel sport, and on the second last lap the race gods delivered in spades. The lead Toyota rolls to a stop on the finish line with a turbo issue. The team left devastated. And that hands the lead and back-to-back wins to Porsche, their 18th overall. This is what makes Le Mans the greatest race of them all.
Do you think they can go for another 24 hours? I could totally stay.
I think the guys are buggered, eh? What's been a standout? Because we've been to lots of places, we've done some cool things.
I didn't really understand endurance racing, and now that you've seen how many people are here and how big the setup is and how much work goes into it, it's mind-blowing.
You haven't driven on this trip yet?
No.
Are you feeling kind of racy?
Yeah, we can do that.
See how quick we get back to Paris.
Done.
Yay.
Driver's side's this side though.
If, like Rob Forbes, you too would like to experience a once-in-a-lifetime trip with Michelin, best you enter our second season of Speed Stars, coming to your television screens in September.